guys, didn't see you there. So today we're going to be mounting and installing my alternator and subwoofer for the EP3.
Alternator?
Free stuff.
Yes.
Hey guys, Lowball Garage here. Today we're going to show you how to install an alternator and subwoofer.
You said alternator again. Yep.
Alright guys, hope you're doing well. You probably read the title. But today we're going to be installing an amplifier and subwoofer into my EP3 Civic 2002 SI. So as you see, we got two 12-inch comp bars in a ported box. I got some Amazon Basic RCA cables. These ones are 15 feet long. I wasn't sure if I needed 8 or 15, so I just went with 15. The connections looks pretty good. Wire's not bad.
Insulation actually looks pretty good, so...
Yeah, you're the wiring expert, so...
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Just Boss.
Yeah, it's a Riot Series R3400D. I couldn't find anything on the any sort of dyno results off these amps, but knowing Boss, they usually lie 200 to 300 watts about the RMS rating. So this is rated for these subs. Is going to be a 2 ohm load. This is rated for about 1300 watts, and we're probably expecting 1100. But you got to keep in mind the EP3 is running off the stock alternators, so we probably won't even be pushing
90 or 95 amps or something.
Yeah, so we probably won't even be pushing it that hard. Probably 600 to 800 watts. So we'll tune it once it's installed.
Yeah, I never thought I would be putting a sound system in this car. Honestly, I've just been dynoing it. I've been dailying it for a while now. So I currently have a Sony double din head unit in there. You want to show the people? I have Alpine tweeters. I forget which ones. I'll have the link in the description. I have also Alpine. I think it was like Type S speakers, and in the back over here, where it would be, I have the JBL. I think it was like Club series.
Yep.
So it's honestly a pretty good setup, and I want to see how much of a difference having a sub will make. Because right now the JBLs and Alpines is not too bassy, so I'm hoping this will fix it. Now this is a lot. Oh, I thought I was gonna get a small sub, but the opportunity on Facebook Marketplace came, so we're going with the big boy.
We gotta live up to our name of Lowball Garage.
Exactly.
So if you want to say what you spent on this entire sound system?
Oh, the entire sound system?
On the entire sound system.
So brand new, the sound system would have cost you like $2 grand. So including the head unit, the tweeters, the Alpine speakers, the JBL speakers, this amp, even the wiring and the sub with the sub box, I'm $600 deep. So yeah.
And for what it is, it's dirt cheap.
And the Alpines and the JBLs are all brand new. So yeah.
Living up to our name of Lowball Garage. The only thing, actually everything is bought off of Facebook Marketplace.
Yep, except the JBL speakers. I bought those, they were remanufactured off of Amazon. Yep. So it just took like 2 weeks longer for it to come, but they sound brand new. They look brand new in the packaging, so yeah.
All right, so we'll get on to installation gear and everything else. So see you then. All right, so what you'll need for the complete install is right here. You'll need some power wire. Depending on how many watts your sub is running, you'll need to look at a chart. Same thing with ground wire. You'll need a fuse. The fuse will need to be mounted next to the battery. You'll need some connectors, maybe for the battery or actually hooking up to the amp. You'll need a signal wire to run from the amp to the head unit. RCA cables that go from the head unit to the amp as well. And finally, some speaker wire that's adequate to go from your amp to your sub. All right, so to start, you're gonna wanna locate your battery in the engine bay. Since this is K24 swapped and he decided to relocate his battery, you have to pull the front bumper off. Most cars, you will not have to do this, but this is a special case, so it's just a few clips to get removed and the battery's gonna be right here.
Now, you don't actually have to, when you are K-swapping these things, K24 swapping them, you don't have to relocate the battery. I did it just so that I can have my intake here instead of back there, so it just gets fresher air.
Yep.
And I decided to put in a front bumper, not in the career with the car like most people to do, because, well, first off, this is like really low to the ground, so it's lower center of gravity. And also, I just want more traction because it's front wheel drive, so I want more weight on the front of the car than the rear.
Yep. So while he's doing that, I'm going to start pulling the seats off, because the way that we're gonna mount the sub is we're gonna have the subs facing this way, and we're gonna do the amp underneath the passenger seat. Yeah, it's gonna be underneath / behind it. So if we go over here, we're gonna have it right here. So nothing gets caught, nothing gets in the way, meaning we're gonna have to run our power cable through the firewall underneath the driver's footwell all the way to here. And we're gonna be running the RCAs from the head unit over here. You never wanna cross those over unless you have really beefy insulation around your RCA cables, but even then it's still not recommended. So what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start pulling the seat. We can probably leave this depending, we can probably leave the seat in, but we'll see later. We might have to pull the carpet up a little bit because we want clean wire install, so we're gonna run everything under the carpet. Do a little cutout over here that comes into the amp. So I'll start doing that. Alex has already pulled off the front bumper. Yeah. And this is what I was talking about. This
is where I put my battery. I literally just welded it in a bracket here. I can put my whole weight on here and shake the car in. It's not gonna move, so.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So I'll get to removing the seats and we'll just walk you through the whole process as we go. All right, so as with most seats, there's gonna be 4 bolts holding it in. I already loosened these, so there's gonna be 2 in the back, and then there's 2 in the front that are undone right here. You can slide the seat up and, or you can slide the seat forward and back just to easily access these bolts. So I already have them loosened, so now I'm just gonna take my electric ratchet and undo all of them fully, and I'll get back to you then. Alright, so once that is done, the seat should come off, but you cannot pull it out yet because there's going to be a seatbelt sensor wire on the back of the seat. So we can pull this back, and as you can see, there are 2 wires actually, so we have to unclip those. But anyways, once the wires are unhooked, you can just, yeah, you can just take your seat out. All right, and that's 1 seat removed. So I'm gonna get the other seat removed, and then we'll start pulling these panels off and prying the carpet up. All right, so passenger seat is removed. Now this is also a good time to get a vacuum and vacuum all the stuff up in here that you could not get to with the seats installed. So I'll do that really quick, and then we'll start prying the panels off. And again, the carpet pulled up a little bit so we can run our wires. Now we're going to start pulling the panels off. I vacuumed it up a little bit. This is going to have to get taken off so I can vacuum more in here. It's a little filthy, but I mean, the car is 20 years old.
Yeah, we're going to be running the RCA on this side. We're going to be running the power wire and signal wire on this side of the car.
Correct. So
right now I'm going to be taking out the head unit so that we can plug the RCA and the signal wire into the back.
Yep. And now when you're doing this, you always want to make sure you have an extra box of clips. We mentioned that in the last video with the sound deadening, but we'll mention it again. You want extra clips because they will break.
Yeah, just buy like a universal 600 pack on Amazon for 10 bucks. It's worth it.
Yep. All right. So we'll get all this trim removed, and we'll update you afterwards. All right.
All right. So I'm currently mocking up the RCA cables. Currently have the carpet under the carpet. If I can get it again. Fucking bolt. It's keeping me from getting to it. We cut this part out, or not, because we're too lazy. But yeah, currently have it running underneath the carpet here, close to the side of the car. It's going through here, and then it's just going up here onto the carpet. As you can see, it's here. I'm going to zip tie it up, and it's going to go up through here, and it's going to come out right here into the back of the head unit.
Yep.
Next thing we have to do is we have to, so we have the power signal wire thing going to the antenna signal wire, so we're just going to splice into that so that it sends signal to the
yep
amp.
So we're going to use one of these. It's just a simple wire tap. Yeah, you want to make sure it matches your gauges of the wire, and we're just going to use this end of the wire. We're going to get the length measured out, and all you do is you put the old wire through this little slit right here and the new wire into this hole right here, and you just press this together, and it'll splice the wires together. this also has been removed. It is the same process as the other side. It's a little tricky maneuvering around this. What I did is I loosened, there's a little Phillips head over here, and I was able to just move this around, which helped me pry off the entire panel. We got this removed. So next step is to run our power cable through the firewall. So the way we're going to do that is usually you will look for a hole in your firewall down here, but not much is visible from here. So we can look in the fender well, or even the firewall in the engine bay. And on the EP3, there just seems, or happens to be, a very nice hole positioned right here. So we can go through this hole, run our power wire through. We're probably going to tuck it on the fender up here and into this hole right here. So we'll get started on that. So we'll take the whole roll of wire just because we don't want to make any educated guesses on how long it's going to need to be. So we'll mock it up first, and I'll go right through and see if there's anything coming out the other end. Where is it coming through, Alex?
You'll find it, maybe. Shit hidden.
The shit is hidden. So, as you can see, right underneath this plastic, we have our nice little power wire. So we can route it right here. And we're gonna want to run it right underneath the carpet right here. Tuck it in nicely, but we'll do that once we have the entire wire mocked up. And that should be plenty of wire right here. So, we have just enough wire now. I left just a little bit extra because we're not going to terminate it back there just yet. We're going to want to add our connector onto this side, hook it up to the amp while that's mounted, and then we'll run a nice clean wire along this edge right here. Give it a little bit of slack, run it out through here, tuck it onto the up here, tuck it right over here, and run it to the battery all nicely, fuse mounted up somewhere in here. But for now, we're gonna start attaching the connectors, as well as doing the signal wire, because that will also have to get ran through the same side. So we'll get on that. So while I was doing that, Alex has mocked up the mounting brackets, or just the mounting system in general for the amplifier. So now, to get the wiring prepped for hooking up to the amp, I took the connectors that came with this wiring kit right here, and I sanded down, or actually used the angle grinder to just grind down the edges, and just to make it enough to fit. So as you see right here, it's a tad bit too big, so I just grinded down the edges, made this a flat surface, and now it's on there real good. So I'm going to do the same thing for this, and then attach something smaller for the signal wire that will fit. I'm actually going to do a spade connector. We don't have any spades. We could have made this into a spade by just cutting a slit right here, but it really makes no difference. I mean, it still contacts all the way through, and we'll be fine. When we put these connectors onto the wire, we're going to heat shrink it, make sure that it's all secure, it doesn't touch anything that it's not supposed to be touching, and yeah, so we'll get on that.
Alright, so I'm going to be mounting the amp over here in the back. I had it positioned here. I know that I want it behind the seat right here, so I took a hole, marked where I want it, took a razor, cut a bit of the carpet out, went through, did a little pilot hole with the drill, and take the carpet up, put a bigger hole, I don't know if you can see, let me turn the light on for the camera. There we go. It's right there. You make a bigger hole. And because when you're going to be drilling this out, you're going to have exposed metal. You want to go over it with paint. So I just went over with a little like touch-up paint so it doesn't rust in the future. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using riv nuts to mount this so that it's nice and just like well done. So I'm gonna rivet nut that, and then I can bolt the amp in it, and then from that way, when I have the amp bolted in, I can mark where I have to drill all the other holes.
Big ass channel locks. I'm gonna grip this boy right here. The solder is in there. I have 2 little strips of solder. I'm gonna hit it with the torch until the solder melts. Solder is all melted, so we're gonna take this, insert it nicely in there, and swirl it around. So once that's in there, I'm gonna take this and give it a nice little crimp with our channel locks. And give it 1, nice, and 2. There we go. So that is solid now. If you see, I'll give it a few seconds just to dry up. But if I pull on this, I'm pulling full force right now. It's not coming loose. So while this is still hot, we can take that and use that to our advantage. Slip this nice little heat shrink over it. And hit it with a heat gun. And the power wire is finished. So now we can hook that up to the amp and actually measure out how much of the power wire we're gonna need to go inside the cabin, through the fender well, and into the battery. Okay, so we cut a little slit into the carpet just to pull the wire through. Right here is gonna be our battery wire, so that's perfect right here. So we're gonna mount that up, and then we're gonna route the actual power cable out nicely. So we'll do that real quick right now. Is there... Yep, this guy. We're gonna unhook the mounting terminal. Nice. I'm gonna put this on here. Now these come at an angle, so I guess they expect them to be mounted in this manner because it's not a flat angled input. Oh boy. It's just not gonna break it.
It's only on 3 torque. That's 3 pound-feet of torque right there. That's fine.
Okay. I want to just hand tighten it just to make sure. Because I also don't want to strip it. Alright, so as mentioned previously, you want to take your new wire, which is just going to be our signal wire, and put it into the slot that has an end. So this has a little plastic cap off. And next, we take our blue and white wire in this case, which is already being used, that's why we're tapping into it. We make sure that it's securely in there. It has a little clip that will hold it. That's nice and in there now. And while somehow magically managing to hold both of these together, you want to crimp this metal piece in evenly, which is nearly fucking impossible.
Did you get it?
Yeah. So now that's in there. We want to even this bit out. Fucking garbage. I mean, it went through, sort of. This is just fucking crooked, though.
It works, it works.
We hope it works. Which, I don't fucking know, dude. These things are so fucking hit or miss. There we go. That's better. And now this is supposed to sleeve onto the end and hold it nice and tight together. Just like that. So, now it's a nice solid connection. So now we're just going to fish the wire from where the head unit is mounted down to here. You can see that got just pulled through. And we're just gonna pull it all the way out. We leave a little bit of slack in there. Make sure not to yoink on that. That should be good.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna
now
go
that's
to
pulled
the
through.
driver's seat now. There.
And
Switch positions.
you want to grab some zip ties just to get that nicely positioned up there.
Yes, sir. Red zip ties because, you know, VTEC power type R shit, you know?
Exactly.
Now we wanted to somehow route this around so that it's
Cleanly
nice.
route this around.
I'm actually going to take this off. Okay. Oh, you took this panel out, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we can just route it right here with this.
Yes.
I somehow fucking managed to route it in the wrong. Oh, never mind. All right, there we go. It's gonna be with this.
All right. So don't zip tie that yet to the wire. We have to pull the slack out of the wire.
All right, I'll just zip tie this then to the chassis.
Yep. So just make sure to zip tie the wire to some sort of chassis part. Most cars will always have something to zip tie it to.
But nothing that'll cut it. You want them to tie it to something.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
plastic. I'm not sure how well you guys can see, but the power signal wire right here is ran, as well as the power wire. And right now we are focusing on getting the ground wire. So ground wire is going to go here next to them, and we're going to comes out of the carpet, and we're going to mount them right here to the chassis of the car. And that should be the cleanest and nicest way to do it. We have all of this hooked up. It's all bolted in. Now we're going to be working on the actual wires that go from the amplifier to the speaker. So what we have is we have some like 12 gauge. They're both brown, unfortunately, but once we've figured out the right sizes, we'll put some heat shrink on each size. So like one heat shrink will be red, the other will be black, and that's how we'll know which one's positive, which one's negative. Yep. We're also going to spin them together because that helps with the sound quality.
Yep. So I guess we'll do eyelets for this one, if they fit. Hopefully they do. And then route it over here, right?
Yep.
So you will have plenty of space. All right. So let's crimp some eyelets on, put heat shrink on, and we'll update you when we get around to the sub end of it. Fucking cutters, dude.
Why don't you just use the pliers?
Those are even worse. I'm not kidding, because I tried to use them earlier.
The red heat shrink, because this one's going to be the positive. All right, there we go. All right, so I haven't been recording much because the battery's about to die on the camera, but this is the power wire that came out from inside the car. We are splicing a fuse into it and now getting the outlet, eyelet, whatever you want to call it, crimped up, soldered, and then we're going to run it through here and to the battery terminal. All right, so we're currently tuning the amp. We have the rear speakers out and the fucking went into demo mode, but we have that set to rear, so it's just playing the subwoofer. Currently, what are you playing right now?
So, to explain that furthermore, the head unit does not have two RCAs for the sub, so we have to hook it up to the rear one. So that's why we have the speakers disconnected. And now I'm playing a 40 hertz tone at -5 decibels, and I'm just messing with the gain right now to see when it distorts. And once I can hear the subs distort, I'll turn it back just a little bit, and that will be our tuning level. Now, also we want to adjust our volume to listening volume. Usually you do 75%. We're going to do 30, which is roughly 60%. You can actually go a little bit higher, right?
Well, no, what about 35? How does that sound?
We'll do 32, maybe 33.
Hopefully you guys can hear us right now. This thing is loud.
Is that distorting?
But yeah, we'll get back to you when we're done with this.
Okay, so we have finally finished up installing the amplifier. Subwoofer still needs to be mounted, but it sounds good. I did undertune it, mainly for two reasons. The sub is rattling everything in the shop, so I can't tell if it's actually distorting the 40 hertz signal or if it's rattling everything around the shop. So we're gonna have to do this somewhere else. Second of all, he only has a 90 amp alternator, and I don't want to overpower that alternator and make it work over time. So we're obviously going to tune it down. This amp is a lot more powerful and could push a lot more bass, but that's not the plan. We're going to adjust as we go. We're going to take it for a test drive tomorrow and see if there's enough bass. If Alex doesn't think there's enough bass, then we're going to tune up. Then we're going to turn up the amp and we'll just go accordingly. So for now, I'm gonna start putting the seats back in. I'm gonna try to really make sure that the seats actually go back in. This is in the way. I hope I don't have to sawzall this off or grinder this off. But we're gonna see right now. And yeah. All right, so it's the next morning. We got the bumper back on. The dash, or the center console, more like, is back together. Everything's bolted back in. The sub is also mounted. What we decided to do is mount this bottom panel.
Which I made, I mean, it's not factory from the car. I made that when I deleted the seats just so that it was nicer. But we mounted that bottom panel to the car, like the actual chassis. I went and riv nutted it. It's like an 18 millimeter, like 4 18 millimeter bolts holding it. And then we screwed the box to that. So it's sturdy. Can't move it. So it'll be nice and safe in an accident. Right now we are just shorting this wire. But these wire strippers are not the good ones. The yellow ones are the good ones. Even though yellow ones look like they're from peasantry, but...
Yes.
I got it. I got it already.
Okay, fine.
In the beam.
Yes.
Oh shit. I cut it too short.
Yeah? Nice.
Fuck! Don't cut your wires too short, guys. This is what happens. Maybe I can just do this trick. Yeah, will this trick work?
Just unwrap it a little bit.
Yeah. Fuck! Okay, we'll see you guys once I fix this issue.
Alright. Hooking the ground back up. We have a nice little quick disconnect over here.
Making sure that shit's tight, because I don't want it to come undone. It's not fun. Alright, should be enough.
A quick disconnect over there for the ground. Now, this is ran and mounted up.
Yep, battery works.
Battery works. So now we'll give it the first test with the interior in.
Give me a second, guys.
It's gonna be in demo mode again.
Let me fix this shit real quick. We'll cut, don't worry.
Early morning, dude.
Alright, what?
It's early morning. I don't know. I don't know this fucking music.
I swear to God, this is a weak ass bass shot to be fucking pissed. A little rattly. All right, outro.
All right, guys. So that's how you install an alternate.
Already thinking about the alternator upgrade?
All right, guys. So that's how you install an amplifier and subwoofer. There's not much testing we can do, as in like on camera, because most of the sounds are like copyrighted in songs.
Yeah.
So, and all the like NCS non-copyrighted sounds in songs just suck. So we don't want to bore you with that. But the thing bumps. It's currently only on quarter of power for the amp, right?
Yeah.
And that was only like half the volume on the head unit as well. So this thing definitely screams. Hopefully my alternator's not gonna want to kill me. But yeah, I like where that's hidden. This is mounted nicely. Can't wait.